Btth2, the inner city of Shao clan had returned to its usual calm state. It was as if nothing had happened in the past, which was enough to change the color of the sky and the earth. In one of the residences in the inner city, Xiao Yan held his breath and focused all his attention on the starlight silent step. Apart from the heavenly monarch fire-burning body, this was the second holy arts he had obtained. Unlike the former, he didn't cultivate any star power, so it would take him a lot of effort to learn it. Star power. Zhou Xingyue seems to have practiced this kind of ultimate skill before. Sitting in a pavilion, Xiao Yan pursed his lips. He recalled the time when he was in Star Moon Island's profound crystal realm. The ultimate skill that Zhou Xingyue used was not much weaker than Zhou Bai's ultimate skill. Zhou clan, he sighed. Xiao Yan had given up on this idea. As one of the four major families in the Starfield, the Xiao clan's foundation was much stronger than the Xiao clan's. With his current ability, he really didn't have the ability to do business with the Zhou clan. If I can't control the power of the stars, then this starlight silent step won't be able to reach its true strength. At most, it can be considered a monarch arts. He shook his head helplessly. Xiao Yan's eyes were filled with unwillingness. The difference between the holy arts and the monarch arts was too great. They were on completely different levels. Calming his heart down, Xiao Yan combed through all the cultivation techniques he had practiced. No matter if it was the Four-Spirit Emperor technique or the Yin Scroll Jade Fairy gave him, there was not a single cultivation technique that involved the power of the stars. This path was also easily sealed off. When we arrive at the academy, we will ask a few elders. After pondering for a moment, Xiao Yan gave up on the idea of asking the Xiao clan's great elder. He was in the Xiao clan, and he possessed the monarch flame. He had already been coveted by many people. If the news of the Starlight Silent Step was found out by those elders of the Xiao clan who harbored evil intentions, he would be in an extremely dangerous situation. Putting aside the cultivation speed of the Starlight Silent Step, Xiao Yan once again focused his attention on his origin qi cultivation. After such a long period of time, he had even gone through 2 months of trekking in the woods of Star Moon Island. His origin qi had finally reached a saturation point, and he could break through to the second monarch emperor at any time. In the headquarters of the Xiao clan, Xiao Yan did not have as many concerns as he did in the outside world. He sat cross-legged in the pavilion and formed seals with his 10 fingers. In an instant, countless origin monarch qis seemed to have received a call as they crazily rushed towards the former. Boundless origin qis rushed over and wrapped around Xiao Yan. The unusual movement of the origin qis in this area instantly attracted the attention of Lei Ying and Yan Jin. Although their strength was low, they had received quite a bit of influence in the Xiao clan over the past few days. They knew what the different intensity of the origin qis represented. When they saw Xiao Yan's actions not far away, they sucked in a breath of cold air. This fellow is stronger than I imagined. Lei Ying withdrew from his cultivation. He looked at Xiao Yan and clicked his tongue in admiration. However, there was a sense of helplessness in his tone. That youth, who was like an ant in their eyes, had not only surpassed them, but had also reached an unimaginable level. After all, this is the bloodline of the Xiao clan in the Fighting Qi continent. Now that the bloodline power has been stimulated, it's only natural that it has reached this level. The corner of Yan Jin's eyes twitched slightly. A hint of envy appeared in his eyes, but he still comforted himself. Xiao clan, it's hard to believe that even you and I, as the patriarchs of the 8 families, don't know about this. Lei Ying sighed and didn't say anything else. He looked at the youth in the pavilion with a complicated look in his eyes. Don't think too much. Our current situation is the lowest existence in the great world. Yan Jin narrowed his eyes and looked at Lei Ying. Ever since Lei Ying came to the great world, his fiery temper had obviously been restrained. After saying that, Yan Jin sat down on the stone bench once again. It had to be said that the solid foundation cultivation technique given by the Xiao clan was not bad. For newbies like them, after cultivating, they felt that their qi was continuous, and their visual perception had been improved. In just a few days' time, the two of them had already reached the level of a 6-star Dou sovereign. With the help of the Xiao clan's resources, they could almost advance to the sovereign realm with 100% success rate. Who? Dense origin monarch qis kept bombarding Xiao Yan's body, continuously entering his body. The latter's limbs and bones were like bottomless pits, greedily dividing up the huge origin qis that had entered his body. Within his body, a red origin chains that emitted a red glow was like a bridge that spanned across the heavens and earth. Its aura was shocking, as if a king had descended. The huge origin chi that entered his body followed the meridians of the burning spell and entered the origin monarch crystal. After that, it surged out again, quickly forming the second origin chains. Hoo-la-la. A moment later, under the continuous collision of the boundless origin chis, the sound of metal colliding suddenly resounded. In the next moment, a scarlet-red chain was formed with a loud bang. With a light buzzing sound, an endless scarlet-red aura spread out, causing all the organs that came into contact with it to be strengthened a step further. Boom! At the same time, Xiao Yan, who had his eyes closed for a long time, suddenly opened them. In his eyes, the dense crimson aura finally dissipated. Within his body, a crimson aura was like a rainbow. It rushed out from the top of his head and an enormous aura burst forth. It blasted the pavilion into dust, and the surging aura had yet to spread. It slowly dissipated. Not simple. However, with 2 Monarch Emperor Chi, their Chi can already rival 7 or 8 Monarch Emperor Chi. Before Xiao Yan could recover his senses, the Great Elder's voice had already reached his ears, causing him to be slightly startled. He focused his gaze and looked at the Great Elder in front of him. Xiao Tianyi ran away? Seeing the Great Elder's calm smile, Xiao Yan's heart skipped a beat, and he asked uncertainly. He ran away. The Great Elder nodded his head lightly. There was no change in his expression. Almost all the elders of Xiao clan were sent out, but he still managed to escape. This might be the will of the heavens. At the level of the Great Elder, he had started to attach importance to the so-called will of the heavens. Therefore, he didn't have too much of an emotional fluctuation. Xiao Yan didn't know what to say when he heard this. Although he had guessed that Xiao Tianyi could escape, he still found it hard to believe that Xiao Tianyi could escape from the hands of so many heavenly sovereign expert and monarch cultivation warriors. Even he himself didn't have the ability to do so. Right now, I'm just worried about one thing. If Xiao Tianyi is controlled by the soul demon, with his talent, if he reaches the heavenly sovereign, I think no one in the Xiao clan can stop him. The Great Elder's eyes suddenly turned gloomy. He gritted his teeth and spoke with a heavy tone. Xiao Yan's heart skipped a beat. He instantly imagined the scene described by the Great Elder. Currently, Xiao Tianyi was able to escape from the hands of many experts. If his strength were to skyrocket in the future, no one knew how terrifying he would be. Fortune and misfortune. I wonder if Xiao Tianyi's appearance at this time has anything to do with the recovery of the soul demon. The Great Elder shook his head, and a serious expression emerged on his face. He was certain that Xiao Tianyi would become one of the overlords of the star field or even the great world in the future. I reckon that the news of the elders of Xiao clan going out has already been discovered by many major powers, especially the Thundercloud clan. They have always wanted to replace Xiao clan as one of the 4 major families. I reckon that they will investigate this matter thoroughly. If you go out from the inner city, they will definitely target you. Therefore, if you want to go to the Yunluo Academy, you must be prepared to face the endless pursuit of the Thundercloud clan. Quote, One in a field far away from the Taiching mansion, smoke was curling up from the kitchen. There were nearly 100 families in the village. The afternoon sun was shining down on the village. The village looked peaceful and peaceful. Swoosh. Suddenly, in the dense forest not far away from the village, a spatial crack suddenly appeared. Then, a young man fell out of the pitch-black space and heavily fell to the ground. Phew, phew, phew. Xiao Tianyi laid on the ground with a pale face. In order to get out of the Taiching mansion, he had used up a lot of his origin and finally broke through the layers of formations set up by the Xiao clan in the entire prefecture. Due to the exhaustion of his body, he fell out of the spatial crack. Fortunately, I have the protection of the heavenly phoenix flame, otherwise, I really wouldn't be able to get out. Struggling to get up from the ground, Xiao Tianyi wiped the sweat off his forehead. His sharp eyes looked around at his surroundings at once, and only after confirming that there was no danger behind him did he heave a sigh of relief. Those old bastards from the Xiao clan shouldn't be able to find this place for the time being. Even if their limbs are as strong as the heavens, they won't be able to create any big waves outside the Taiching mansion. Xiao Tianyi slowly walked out of the dense forest. He seemed to have a very deep understanding of the Xiao clan. He sneered and looked at the small village that appeared in the distance. A bunch of old bastards. When I recover, it will be the time of your death. A trace of killing intent flashed across Xiao Tianye's eyes. He moved his feet and rushed towards the small village. In a flash, a trace of golden flame followed him like a shadow, easily burning the air in front of him. Without the resistance of the air, Xiao Tianyi seemed to have teleported and arrived in front of the small village very quickly. I have to recover my strength as soon as possible. If I run into someone from the Xiao clan, I really will be in danger. Standing in front of the village, Xiao Tianyi pondered for a moment. He wrapped his tattered black robe tightly and strode into the village. Xiao Tianyi, forget it. It doesn't matter what his name is. I'm too lazy to think about what his name is. Muttering in a low voice, Xiao Tianyi fixed his eyes on a few middle-aged strong men who were carrying farming tools in the distance. They were talking and laughing as they walked out of the village, as if they were going to farm. Hee, taking the initiative to deliver yourself to my doorstep. That's good too. The corner of Xiao Tianye's mouth revealed a trace of a strange smile. A wisp of black light flashed across his eyes. In the next moment, his body had already rushed forward. The golden flame in his hand transformed into several furious thunderbolts that pierced through the few middle-aged men with lightning speed. Swoosh, swoosh. As the lightning bolts that pierced through the few middle-aged men returned to his body, Xiao Tianyi took a deep breath. His pale face also recovered slightly, as if he had received a great benefit. This flame is not bad. It's the heavenly flame of the Golden Emperor, the ability of a phoenix. It's the ability to undergo nirvanic rebirth. Furthermore, after every nirvanic rebirth, one's strength will increase. Old fellows from the Xiao clan, you can't imagine this, right? Xiao Tianyi was stunned for a moment when he sensed the recovery of his injuries. After which, he came to a sudden realization and was overjoyed. Without even looking at the few middle-aged men who had collapsed on the ground, he borrowed the tiny origin chi that had emerged from their bodies and rushed up into the sky, looking down at the entire village below. Is it the Monarch Emperor level expert? There was no lack of experts within the village. A skinny old man stood on the star observation platform in the village. He immediately cried out in shock when he saw Xiao Tianyi floating in midair. As he was quite close to Taiching Mansion, he had seen many experts who could walk in the air. He was not surprised by such experts. However, this was the first time he had seen such an expert interested in their small village. Grandpa Shu, is that an expert who can fly in the sky? Beside the old man, there were a few children around the same age. One of the children had thick eyebrows and big eyes. He was filled with a heroic aura. Under the guidance of the old man, he quickly saw Xiao Tianyi in midair. Immediately, he spoke with anticipation. The old man was the strongest person in the village. He already possessed the strength of an emperor. To them, he was already the strongest existence. That's right, all of you should work hard in your cultivation. In the future, if anyone is chosen by the Xiao clan and enters their subsidiary sect, they will also become such experts. The old man smiled and encouraged the few children beside him. After that, he looked at the sky with a puzzled expression. How could such an expert pay attention to this insignificant village? That's right, with a few hundred people, I should be able to recover half of my strength. Standing in the air, Xiao Tianyi looked at the entire village with an expressionless face. Then, he smiled coldly and stretched out his hand. A ball of golden lightning flame appeared in his palm. Within the flame, a little phoenix was wailing, but it couldn't struggle out. You just stay inside. You actually wanted to devour me just now. Xiao Tianyi let out a cold snort and looked at the little phoenix in the flame. After that, he let out a shout, and hundreds of golden lightning bolts burst out from the flame in his hand. They fell down like flowers falling from the sky. Rumble! Hundreds of golden lightning bolts were like furious lightning snakes. In an instant, the entire village welcomed the end of the world. In an instant, all the lightning snakes accurately pierced through everyone's chest. Everyone did not even let out a miserable cry before powerlessly falling to the ground. The lightning snakes carried their life origin chi and soared into the sky once again, entering Xiao Tianyi's body in the air. Ha! Xiao Tianyi's arms relaxed as he received the nourishment of the life origin chi. He could not help but let out a comfortable moan. This feeling was too wonderful. He could even feel the almost ruined life force in his body slowly emitting new vitality. The phoenix's rebirth is indeed not bad. After a long while, all the life origin chi dissipated. Xiao Tianyi pursed his lips and laughed. He didn't even look at the village that looked like a dead city. With a flash, he rushed into the distance. In the village, everyone had lost their lives. Not a single one of them survived. Everyone's chest had been pierced through. Lying on the ground with a pale face, at the observatory in the middle of the village. An old man knelt on the ground, and a bloody hole passed through his back. Below him were 2 children who had also lost their lives. Even though the old man protected these 2 children with his body, he still did not escape Razor's slaughter. Boom! Boom! In a mansion in the inner city of Shao Clan, Yan Jin and Lei Ying stood up with joy on their faces as 2 powerful auras erupted from their bodies. Upon closer inspection, both of them had advanced to the Sovereign Realm. Not bad, they have advanced to the Sovereign Realm in one go. Their foundations are indeed very strong. In the distance, Xiao Yan and Xiao Yi were standing. They looked at Yan Jin and Lei Ying. Xiao Yi smiled and said casually, "We have waited for so many days. Finally, we have arrived." Xiao Yan smiled and did not say anything else. There was no need to talk about the foundation of these 2 fellows. It was only logical for them to advance to the Sovereign Realm in one go. I plan to bring them to the Yunluo Academy tomorrow. After considering for a while, Xiao Yan suddenly opened his mouth and spoke in a casual manner. Perfect. I have to make a trip there as well. Although the 4 academies competition has already gone there, it's meaningless for me to stay in the Yunluo Academy any longer. However, the capital of chaos is a good place. The corner of Xiao Yi's mouth curled up slightly. I heard that the capital of chaos is very lively right now. It's necessary to go there and take a look. Quote, one month later, in Shao Clan. Xiao Yan, Yan Jin and Lei Ying were led by Xiao Ling. They quietly appeared in a corner of the outer city of the Shao Clan, amongst the endless crowd. Naturally, no one noticed the sudden appearance of a few people. Without attracting anyone's attention, after bidding goodbye to Xiao Ling, Xiao Yan brought Yan Jin and Lei Ying to a city called North Sun City. Xiao Yi had left Shao Clan a few days ago and went to Yunluo Academy. Xiao Hao, who had welcomed Xiao Yan with Xiao Ling, had also entered a sect that belonged to Shao Clan a few years ago. The second day after Yan Jin and Lei Ying both advanced to the Sovereign Realm, Xiao Yan left with the 2 of them. Northern Sun City was named after an elder named Desolate Beiyang in the history of the Shao Clan. According to the legends, during the chaos in the Nether Domain, Desolate Beiyang had killed several senior experts of Nether Domain in the Eastern Star region by himself. This gave the Shao Clan, who was drifting in the wind and rain, a chance to catch their breath. In the end, they were killed by the Domain Lord of the Nether Domain. Thus, the Shao Clan used this city to commemorate the former. Through the transportation array, the 3 of them arrived at the Northern Sun City smoothly. With the letter from the Great Elder in their hands, they were led by the Iron Guards of the Northern Sun City to see the City Lord of the Northern Sun City. They obtained a golden feathered eagle from the latter. Its eyes were as sharp as lightning, and its feathers were like golden steel needles. Each of its feathers stood up straight, and its sharp claws seemed to be flashing with a cold light. Its wings were spread wide, and it was nearly 10 meters wide. After bidding farewell to the City Lord of the Northern Sun City, Xiao Yan and Yan Jin, Lei Ying and the other 2 flew up into the sky on the golden feathered eagle, and rushed towards the Yunluo Academy at full speed. As the personal mount of the Shao Clan, each golden feathered eagle was given a huge amount of manpower and resources. With extra training, this golden feathered eagle, it was precisely the path of the Yunluo Academy that he had memorized in his heart. The last time he sent a letter to the Yunluo Academy, he had called Xiao Yi back. It was all thanks to this golden feathered eagle. At this rate, it will take at least a month. All of you have advanced to the Sovereign Realm, so it won't be a problem if you don't eat or drink for a month. Standing on the wide back of the golden feathered eagle, Xiao Yan looked at the scene below, which was getting smaller and smaller. He looked at Yan Jin and the other man. The 2 of them could only nod their heads and look at each other. They could only smile bitterly. When they were in the Fighting Chi continent, they wanted to go to a place where they could directly tear open the space and travel. In just a day, they could travel through the entire continent. When they arrived here, they had finally experienced the feeling of riding a flying devil beast for a long time. 1 month, Xiao Yan let out a low sigh and decided not to think about it anymore. The golden feathered eagle had memorized the route to the Yunluo Academy, and there was no need for him to do anything about it. He could use this time to cultivate some of the secret arts on the Yin Scroll. After gaining a deeper understanding of it, Xiao Yan felt that the Yin scroll was extraordinary. If he were to find out about any of the secret arts, it was not inferior to any of the best cultivation techniques. This was enough to explain why Yin Kang had only comprehended it back then. The great Yin spirit arts was already outstanding enough. Currently, Xiao Yan could only rely on his own understanding to cultivate these techniques. There were many obscure aspects that he could not understand. Therefore, he did not pay much attention to them. He just continued to explore the core of the techniques, especially the Great Yin Burial Technique. When Jade Fairy used it, it could devour almost everything, making Xiao Yan envious. When Xiao Yan started cultivating, Yan Jin and Lei Ying did not stay idle. From the Xiao clan, they had obtained some powerful monarch skill. Now that they had advanced to the sovereign realm, the origin qi in their bodies had become more abundant, and they could also cultivate many monarch skill. Naturally, the two of them could not wait to improve their own strength. Swoosh! In the vast sky, a golden figure flashed past, leaving a faint trace in the sky. Its speed was not inferior to the Monarch Emperor level expert speed as it traveled at full speed. Is this the star-severing mountain range? After an unknown number of days, when Yan Jin opened his eyes from his cultivation, he was instantly attracted by the scene below. Everything in his sight was completely red. The endless mountain range stretched for tens of thousands of miles, as if it had split the entire star field into two. It was a majestic atmosphere. They were like furious dragons. While Yan Jin was muttering to himself, Xiao Yan suddenly frowned and unconsciously withdrew from his cultivation. He couldn't help but look down at a certain place, and a trace of doubt flashed across his eyes. The fleeting feeling just now had caused him to feel rather strange. Strange, he muttered to himself. Xiao Yan didn't say anything else. He closed his eyes once again and further comprehended the Great Yin Burial Technique. When he was waiting in illusory spirit space to devour refining monarch Hai Tianyan, he had already deeply cultivated the Great Yin Burial Technique. But at that time, he was only an emperor. Now that he was cultivating it with the experience of a monarch emperor, his experience was naturally different. The golden feathered eagle turned into a golden ray of light and flashed across the sky. Xiao Yan and the others did not notice that Yin Juxuan, who was possessed by the soul demon in the black sand castle below, had quietly taken control of the many elders of the profound Yin sect. Unknowingly, he had become the strongest overlord in this region. That kid Yin Kang is really talented. In just a few years, he has already touched the threshold of the Monarch Emperor. Once he breaks through to the Monarch Emperor, he will be under my control. I will use him to attract the experts from the surrounding sects and capture all of them in one fell swoop. With these sacrifices, I believe that it won't be long before Honorable Tai Chi comes out. Within the inner hall of the profound Yin sect, Yin Juxuan's face was ferocious, and he let out a wild laugh. In front of him were dozens of sect elders who had been completely controlled by him. Roughly a month later, the golden feathered eagle that had been silently flying for a long time suddenly let out a clear and sharp cry, causing the three people who were cultivating to open their eyes. We have arrived at Capital of Chaos. You must be careful. Looking at the majestic city that stretched for tens of thousands of miles in the distance, Xiao Yan's expression slowly turned serious. He recalled what Xiao Yi had said. He didn't know what had happened in Capital of Chaos these past few days, but it had become even more chaotic and disorderly. The golden feathered eagle let out a low cry as it carried Xiao Yan and the other two men and flew towards Capital of Chaos. What entered their eyes was an endless black plain. The plain was filled with countless cities and towns. In the depths of the dense forest, bloody slaughter was happening all the time. In this place, no matter who died, it wouldn't cause any commotion. Yan Jin and Lei Ying were also used to seeing big scenes. They didn't show any surprise towards the countless life and death battles on the Black Plain. In this place, strength was everything. As long as one had the strength, he would be able to control the power of life and death. All of these things had been known by them for a long time. Swoosh! Suddenly, a sharp sword cut through space and shot over with a rolling thunder sound. The golden feathered eagle's reaction was second to none among all the flying heavenly beasts. It flapped its huge wings and easily dodged. Before it could move again, a sharp sword had already descended from the sky and ruthlessly pierced towards the former's neck. Screech! Although the golden feathered eagle was known for its speed, it was unable to dodge this incoming attack. It looked like the sharp sword's sword glow was about to pierce through the former's body. Crack! In the time it takes for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, Xiao Yan had already rushed out from the golden-feathered eagle's body. With a wave of his arm, the blue flame ruler blocked the sharp sword that was rushing over. With a crack sound, this sharp sword, which had reached the high-tier spirit weapon level, had already been broken into two. Huh? A surprised exclamation involuntarily sounded when he saw that his surprise attack had been easily blown away by Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's face was expressionless as he looked forward. A figure slowly appeared from the space in front of him. This person was a tall and skinny man with a face full of stubble. He was dressed in green and there was nothing unusual about him. I miscalculated. I didn't expect that there would be a monarch emperor warrior here. The tall and thin man frowned. He looked at one of his companions who came to his side and said in a soft voice, "Who cares? This golden-feathered eagle is the Xiao clan's flying devil beast. This kid is most likely a member of the Xiao clan. I remember that there is a mission on the chaotic slaughter list. It is to capture a member of the Xiao clan. If he can ride this golden-feathered eagle, his status in the Xiao clan should be quite high. It just so happens that a fortune has fallen from the heavens." The man beside him was fat. On the bald head, there was a ferocious scar on his bald head. He looked at Xiao Yan and said in a gloomy voice, "1-inch die." Xiao Yan did not waste any time talking to the two people who had suddenly appeared. He coldly spat out the word, "die." The origin chi on his back flapped its wings. The blue flame ruler in his hand flickered with crimson gold flames as it rushed towards the two of them. Anyone could be an enemy in Capital of Chaos. Although the two of them in front of him had reached the Monarch Emperor, however, since they were the ones who attacked first, he wasn't a person who was afraid of trouble. If he said anything else, it would bring him unnecessary trouble. This place was located in the Black Plain between the inner and outer city of Capital of Chaos. There were very few people here, and the sudden appearance of a Monarch Emperor level expert wouldn't attract the attention of many experts. Swoosh! The blue flame ruler leapt over like a crimson dragon, causing the space to surge. Hot origin cheese swept across, pressing against the two people in front of them. How arrogant! The tall and thin man coldly harumphed. His strength had already reached the 7th Monarch Emperor. Even in the inner city of Capital of Chaos, he could still run amok with his current strength. Although Xiao Yan's strength was vague, he could still sense that Xiao Yan was definitely below the 5th Monarch Emperor. There's something strange about that ruler. The bald fatty's expression was slightly serious. He looked at the blue flame ruler in Xiao Yan's hand and spoke softly. After that, he moved his 10 fingers and red-blue flame rulers shot out from his fingertips. It was as if they had turned into countless blood-red giant snakes. The giant snakes roared and wrapped around the blue flame ruler. All right, he saw that his companion had casually wrapped around Xiao Yan's ruler. The tall and skinny man involuntarily revealed a joy on his face. His body moved gently and his large hand had already smashed towards Xiao Yan's chest. His other hand grabbed the blue flame ruler in the latter's hand. It was a blue flame ruler that could easily shatter a high-tier spirit weapon. Only a first-grade heavenly weapon could be used. A heavenly weapon was a divine weapon that they coveted. The golden-feathered eagle had already carried Yan Jin and Lei Ying away from this place, but it didn't stay far away from them. The golden-feathered eagle was also full of spirituality. It flapped its huge wings and joined the Yan Jin and Lei Ying on its back. 6 sharp eyes looked at the 3 people who were engaged in a fierce battle in an instant. HMPH. Xiao Yan laughed coldly. He suddenly flipped his wrist and the crimson gold flame on the blue flame ruler suddenly expanded. A moment later, numerous hoarse and miserable cries were accompanied by the countless blood-colored long snakes that had wrapped around the blue flame ruler, turning into flying ashes. Bang! At the same time, Xiao Yan's empty palm also came forward to meet the attack. It collided with the palm of the tall and thin man. In an instant, the origin chi whistled and the space exploded. The tall and thin man let out a low roar, and couldn't help but retreat. Xiao Yan merely shook his shoulders and returned to normal. With the origin chi that was merged with yin and yang, the strength of Xiao Yan's origin chi. It was not any weaker than any Monarch Emperor level expert. 8-directional thunder ruler. Xiao Yan did not stop as he struck out with his palm. His body followed closely behind. The crimson gold flame on the blue flame ruler suddenly emitted golden lightning. The lightning streaked across the sky, causing the air to rumble. It seemed to have gathered an endless amount of furious lightning as it ruthlessly struck towards the tall and thin man. Blood Moon Great Wheel Seal. The tall and thin man's eyelids twitched violently. A trace of fear surged into his heart for some unknown reason when he saw the numerous lightning bolts rushing towards him. He recovered his senses in an instant and suddenly waved both of his hands. The origin chi all over his body surged out wildly, forming a blood-red full moon the size of a millstone behind him in an instant. Sizzle, sizzle! The blood-red full moon came crushing over. It seemed to have crushed the air as it faced the furious lightning that came rushing over. In an instant, the blood-red origin chi spread and wrapped around countless lightning bolts, crazily swallowing them. Boom! At the instant Xiao Yan and the skinny and tall man confronted each other, another ferocious-looking fat man suddenly appeared beside Xiao Yan. His hand was like a bolt of lightning as it smashed towards Xiao Yan's chest. It carried a myriad of gravity as it shattered the space around it. Xiao Ao. Xiao Yan's expression did not change at all. He laughed loudly and a flame erupted from his body. Before the fat man could see clearly, the flame had already transformed into a small figure. A punch landed on the latter's abdomen. In an instant, the fat man let out a miserable cry as he flew backwards like a cannonball. What a waste. I estimate that he is at most a 5th Dao Monarch Emperor. The Xiao Ao twisted its body and returned to its normal size. It looked at the unconscious fatty with disdain and pouted its small mouth as it spoke indifferently. Its strength had made sufficient progress during this period of time. It was as easy as chopping vegetables and melons to deal with these ordinary Monarch Emperor warriors. He. Retracting his gaze, the Xiao Ao suddenly chuckled. His malicious gaze stared at the tall and skinny man not far away. With a flick of his small hand, a long golden mace appeared in his hand. It was the golden cauldron blood flame mace that he had snatched from Yin Juxuan back then. After being refined by the Xiao Ao for such a long period of time, it had completely become a suitable spirit weapon for him. The tall and skinny man's face suddenly turned pale when he saw that the Xiao Ao, which had suddenly appeared, had defeated his companion with a single strike. A trace of hesitation flashed across his face. Finally, he clenched his teeth and the origin chi within his body shook. The blood-red full moon broke free from his control and shattered with a loud bang along with a couple of rolling thunderbolts. What is it? Xiao Yan lifted his eyebrows. He let out a cold laugh when he saw this. After which, he slowly withdrew his blue flame ruler. His eyes were filled with caution, and he was constantly paying attention to his surroundings. Little brother, it is us brothers who are blind. Please forgive us. After deliberating for a while, the tall and thin man spoke in a deep voice. Although he was unwilling to accept this, he had no choice but to submit under the pressure of Xiao Yan and the Xiao Ao. Xiao Yan alone was not easy to deal with, and now there was another Xiao Ao whose strength was unknown. If he wasn't careful, he might really die here today. Being able to bend and bend was one of the best ways to survive in the capital of chaos. What is that chaotic slaughter list? Xiao Yan was too lazy to talk nonsense with him and asked directly. It's a kind of assassin list in capital of chaos. Every major power can post a mission on it at a price tag. Anyone can accept the mission on it. After completing it, you will be rewarded handsomely. The tall and thin man spoke slowly, but his eyes were secretly rotating. He was thinking of a way to escape. Suddenly, his eyes paused, and he saw Yan Jin and Lei Ying who were on the golden-feathered eagle not far away. I see. But, that guy just said that someone wanted a person from the Xiao clan. What's going on? Xiao Yan looked at the tall and thin man with a bright light flashing in his eyes. It's a mission issued by the Thundercloud clan. As for the exact reason, we don't know either. The tall and thin man said as he took the opportunity to look at Xiao Yan. Thundercloud clan, no wonder. Xiao Yan was stunned when he heard this. Then, as if he had thought of something, a look of understanding flashed across his face. Swoosh! In an instant, the tall and thin man's body suddenly moved violently. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived not far away from the golden-feathered eagle. He opened his big hand, and the origin chi roared. It transformed into a huge net and wrapped itself around Yan Jin and Lei Ying. With these two fellows, the Xiao clan kid would not dare to attack him. Therefore, his chances of escaping would be much higher. Courting death. Xiao Yan's eyes were fixed. Immediately, he laughed coldly. The origin chi under his feet galloped. His body moved and he arrived behind the tall and skinny man. A fist that was wrapped with scarlet, gold, and blue flames was gently swung. The enormous flame fist had quietly penetrated the chest of Yan Jin and Lei Ying just as the large origin chi net was about to wrap around them. It is even weaker than Lei Yunting. Xiao Yan withdrew his hand with a cold smile. He kicked the tall and thin man down and laughed disdainfully. After which, he mused for a moment. It seemed like the Thundercloud clan had reached the capital of chaos, but in this case, wouldn't they need someone from the Shao clan? It was a good opportunity for them to see who had such an idea. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan smiled lightly. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. 2 inches. Who are these two? When Xiao Yan arrived, Lei Ying couldn't help but ask. Although he was weak, he had a good feeling that these two enemies were no weaker than Xiao Yan. He didn't expect that they would be easily killed by the latter. After saying this, Lei Ying and Yan Jin looked at the Xiao Ao beside them. Both of them were quite surprised by the latter's sudden appearance. I don't know, but there's no need to know. Xiao Yan landed on the back of the golden-feathered eagle. The Xiao Ao also sat down beside him. It rubbed the huge head of the golden-feathered eagle. The latter let out a soft cry and swiftly rushed in the direction of the Yunluo Academy. Xiao Yi is right. Something has happened in the capital of chaos. I never thought that the Thundercloud clan would be able to infiltrate this place. Xiao Yan's eyes turned slightly serious, and he remained silent. He was well aware of the mission given by the Thundercloud clan on the chaotic slaughter list. The biggest possibility was that they had found out about Xiao Yi's arrival in the Yunluo Academy. The Thundercloud clan wanted to use this opportunity to capture Xiao Yi and interrogate him about the sudden behavior of the elders in the inner city of the Xiao clan. He was able to recognize us from the Xiao clan just by relying on the golden-feathered eagle. It seems like the people of the Thundercloud clan have done a thorough investigation. Xiao Yan smiled and suddenly spoke. He looked at Yan Jin and Lei Ying and said, "Take the golden-feathered eagle and head to the Yunluo Academy first. I will go to the capital of chaos to meet them." Xiao Yan, don't be reckless. Upon hearing this, Yan Jin hastily spoke. They had heard some things about the capital of chaos in Xiao clan. The strength of a monarch emperor was nothing in this place. Don't worry, I know what to do. Xiao Yan didn't explain anything. He said indifferently, those elders of Yunluo Academy should know about the golden-feathered eagle. If they ask about it, you can mention Xiao Yi's name. With his ability, it won't be a problem for you all to settle down. We'll talk about the rest after I return. After saying that, Xiao Yan patted the golden-feathered eagle's head and called out to the Xiao Ao. The two of them soared into the sky. The origin chi on their backs flapped and flew in a completely different direction from the golden-feathered eagle. What a crazy guy! Yan Jin watched Xiao Yan leave with his eyes. He couldn't help but sigh. Although he said that, there was a hint of sourness in his tone. It wasn't that they didn't want to have Xiao Yan's heroic spirit, but it was a pity that his strength was weak. If he went, he would only be a burden. Swoosh! While the two of them were muttering to themselves, the golden-feathered eagle had already let out a loud cry. It was like a huge bird spreading its wings as it swiftly flew in the direction of the Yunluo Academy. On the west side of the inner city of capital of chaos, in a majestic golden building, dozens of people were seated. Their gazes were all directed towards the seat of honor. There, 2 middle-aged men were chatting and laughing. Master Black Nether Emperor is really good at this. He has created a chaotic slaughter list. This capital of chaos is truly a chaotic place. A man with a gloomy expression looked at the man in embroidered robe in front of him with a smile. He fiddled with the 2 jade pearls in his hands as if he was talking to himself. Sectmaster Hong, I don't like hearing what you're saying. The man in brocade robe only smiled when he heard this. He didn't seem angry at all. Originally, Capital of Chaos was extremely xenophobic. When Mercenary Alliance entered this place, it was all because of their deputy sect master's interference that Heaven Surmounting Monarch and the others finally relented. Now, Heaven Surmounting Monarch and the others have been in secluded cultivation for a long time. With Black Nether Emperor's strength, he could be considered the #1 person in Capital of Chaos. It wouldn't be a big deal for him to slightly change the rules. The corners of the mouth of the shady man who was called Sect Master Hong raised slightly as he said, I'm just the sect master of a small sect. We have no right to question what Lord Black Nether Emperor is doing. But Lord Lei Yun is right. It's time to change the old rules of Capital of Chaos. The man named Lei Yunjiao laughed and said, in my opinion, it's necessary for the chaotic slaughter list to appear. The previous Yunluo ranking and so on. It's nothing more than a child's play. Who would care about a true expert? That's what you said. Hong Xing smiled faintly and did not deny it. At least to him, even the #1 genius of Yunluo, Mu Yuyang, was not worth his effort. At his level, those monarch crystals were nothing to him. The Yunluo Academy was lucky enough to obtain the first place in the 4 academies competition. This achievement is truly rare. When Su Ziyang invited all the major and minor powers in the Capital of Chaos to celebrate, the heavens had conveyed the message to them. In this way, those guys from the Yunluo Academy won't dare to make a move during this period of time. After regaining his senses, Hong Xing's voice was deep and his eyes were flickering with uncertainty. If I remember correctly, your Thundercloud clan issued a killing order a few days ago in the Capital of Chaos. It was to catch that Xiao Yi from the Xiao clan, right? According to what I know, Xiao Yi didn't participate in the 4 academies competition. What do you want him to do? Hey, Lei Yunjiao smiled. His sharp eyes swept across the crowd below. All the people who saw him hurriedly lowered their heads. Sect Master Hong knows as well. It can be said in the text. The person who won the first place in the 4 academies competition is called Xiao Yan, although he doesn't know much about it. I didn't see him that time, but he has achieved so much. He was definitely the descendant of an old monster from the Xiao clan. I really want to catch him. However, to be able to defeat Kang Feng of the Kang family. Even a true emperor cultivation might not be able to defeat him. I can only take second place. The Thundercloud clan's big hand grabbed the armrest of the chair. As they spoke, the armrest was almost crushed. Hong Xing didn't speak when he heard this. His eyes were cold as he waited for Lei Yunjiao to speak. A few days ago, a spy from the Thundercloud clan in the Taiching mansion of the Xiao clan sent a message. Something big seems to have happened in the inner city of the Xiao clan. At that time, Xiao Yi was also in Xiao clan. With his identity, he definitely knew something. After a pause, Lei Yunjiao's face turned gloomy. The Xiao clan has the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame. Although the Thundercloud clan doesn't have the Monarch Flame, we do have the rare Great Profound Strong Wind Thunder in the world. Initially, I thought that the 4 academies competition could cripple Xiao Yi this time, but I never thought that Xiao Yan would be the one to make the Xiao clan grow stronger once again. Hong Xing smiled coldly. He put away the jade pearl in his hand and said, I have no interest in getting involved in the grudges between you major families. You can do whatever you want. However, my subordinates are very interested in your killing order and have taken over it. In that case, it's better than nothing. Currently, it's not good for the Thundercloud clan to attack Xiao Yi openly. It would be best if the Extreme Star Group, ranked 8th among the Chaotic 100 clans, attacked. Lei Yunjiao was overjoyed when he heard this. He hastily stood up and cupped his fists at Hong Xing. We are just benefiting from each other. Hong Xing smiled faintly, after which, he walked towards the exit. Below him, nearly half of the Extreme Star Group disciples followed closely behind. The smile on Lei Yunjiao's face gradually disappeared as he watched Hong Xing and the rest leave. He stared in front of him without saying a word. He was lost in thought for a long time before he patted his head and said in a somewhat vexed manner, How could I forget? Lei Yenting's nephew has also participated in the 4 academies competition. He knows what Xiao Yan looks like. I should ask him about it. Lightly pursing his lips, Lei Yunjiao slowly walked to the outside of the pavilion. He looked at the darkening sky and suddenly let out a ferocious laugh. Along with the sudden sound of angry thunder, the former's laughter resounded throughout the entire region.